Peace be upon you everyone again. Last time we stopped on installing our NVDA. That's the practical part. Also for the presentation we stopped on area, a few attributes we are using in area. This time we are going to start by looking to some elements. How can you make them accessible and what is the difference between each element? How can you implement it? So let's get started and getting into our presentation. We will start by accessible recommendations for anchor tag or button. Which one should we use and when should we use this one? Anchor tag, when you have attribute h reference, tab index of 0, for example, that's anchor tag. We use anchor tag when we want to direct our user to another page, model, or any activity which means the user is going to leave the page. For that reason, anchor tag already has the role of link and type also of link because it's linking you to external resources outside of your existing resources at the moment or your page. We gave it tab index of 0 to make it accessible for the keyboard interactions, because by default if the anchor tag without href attribute it won't be keyboard accessible at all. So when you give it href already it will be tab index 0, but it will be accessible using enter keyboard only. But because of some frameworks like Angular, if you give it href, for example, without any meaning value, it's going to refresh the page. So be careful when you are using anchor tags with empty ref value for some component-based applications such as Angular, Vue, or React. Test it to know if it's loading the page or everything is working fine. Okay, it has a role of link, we already said that. You can give it area label if there is no explicit value for the anchor tag. If between this opening brackets of anchor tag and the closing bracket there is no explicit text, please give it area label. Or if it depends on the location of this anchor tag, but you should give it one of the area label. It will be the most convenient one. So at least you will inform the screen readers users that what this anchor tag is doing. We will move now to buttons. Button is you press when you do something. Button in general we use it when we do action, but we will stay in the same page. But for sure if you will, like when you submit form, you stay on the same page. Sometimes you can use role button with something redirecting you such as login form, but login is action you are doing. So you do action by logging into the page and you start working. But in general, button we are using it when we want the user to do some action on the page. It's accessible by default to keyboard, so there is no need to give it any area, any tab index or anything, because it will be by default accessible. Will be triggering using spacebar or enter keyboard. It has the role of button by default also, so no need to worry about the button role or type because it already has this implemented by default. The semantic of button. Also the same with length, you give it area label or area labeled by, or it depends, if there is no explicit text between the opening and the closing brackets of the button. Moving to the next element, it will be images. Images, we will divide them into two different kind of images. Descriptive image. Descriptive image is such image which has some information for the user. So this image is describing something, like the image itself is not just for decoration. It's something you want the visual user to see and to understand what is doing. So the user who using screen readers, he has the same equal rights to know what this image do. So for this case we will give it alt and describe what this text do. We will describe it a meaning short of this description. No need to make like a full paragraph, like I don't know, you write article for the image, but give it a descriptive text and shorthand text. Non-descriptive image is a decorative image, some image which has no meaning. For example, you have a login image, but already this login image is inside the button. So it's okay to decorate your image, and if there is no meaning for the image, so it's no problem. Don't worry about this image for the assistive technology, because already there is another way the user will be informed about the action which behind this decorative image. For example, again, login icon, so it has area label said login, for example, so it's okay because already informed the user what this is doing. Has no information for the user, so it's no problem. We use alt empty because there is no need for this image to be announced. Or hidden, you can hide this image totally from the assistive technology, they will not see in it. Or you give it role presentation or role none sometimes. Also you take this image out of the assistive technology context. Moving now into icons. Sometimes you have icon, maybe this icon is doing nothing, but it has some useful information. It's not an image, but it's icon. Like for example, like icons such as making a counter for something like file settings. Icon which has meaning. In this case, you need also to describe this icon to the user. So descriptive icon, the same as image exactly. You can just, because this icon will not has, for example, alt, we give it SR only internally, such as this example, span icon. Inside SR only is a class which you can search for it online, or I will try to find some code, highlight it on the screen, or leave it in the description box below this presentation. So SR only is a way that you can hide the element from the visual context of your page without affecting the functionality of your page or affecting the position of another element in the page. Then you describe inside this icon what this icon is doing. The reason why you are using here icon title from resource bundle translate, because you should care about internationalization if your application is not locally to your own language. So that's why you should give the text international meaning. So also user from all over the world with different languages could access to your application. Non-descriptive image, the same icon, the same as image. If it's decorative, so don't care about it. Sometimes even no need to do anything except hide it, all presentation, and that's it. So those were the most important points at the moment is the icons we spoke about. Next time we are going to speak about tab controls, tab links, and contents with some real life example of how you can implement the tab controls, because the previous row components, button, anchor tag, image, icons, they are very easy to implement, so there is no need to use any real life example for that, because they are very simple, not complicated one. So please review them. If you have any question, please leave it in the comments below. If you like the content, share it with other developers. I hope it will be more beneficial for everyone else. So until then, please be safe, enjoy your coding time, and see you for the next section. Bye bye.